The tensions that have been brewing for several weeks now have erupted into a full-blown conflict. The conflict has seen airstrikes, artillery and heavy gunfire. Hospitals have been damaged. Medical supplies and food are in short supply. The WHO had already warned that several hospitals receiving civilians have run out of blood, transfusion equipment, intravenous fluids and other vital supplies. It's a past struggle between two main factions of Sudan's military regime. The fighting is between Sudan's army chief, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and the RSF, a notorious paramilitary force. The RSF is commanded by Sudan's deputy leader, Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, better known as Hemeti. Now, these two generals are former allies. They jointly orchestrated a military coup in October 2021. It derailed Sudan's short-lived transition to democracy. The coup put the army back in charge, but it faced weekly protests, renewed isolation and deepening economic woes. Tension between the military and RSF has escalated since then, as the two groups have competed for legitimacy and control of the country. The fighting began because RSF chief Dagalo wanted the RSF integrated into the Sudanese military. The key question was who would be subordinate to whom. The disagreement has delayed the signing of an internationally backed agreement with political parties on a transition to democracy. The RSF leader claims to represent marginalized people against the country's elites. However, his forces were accused of ethnic cleansing. Dagalo is now trying to fashion himself as a supporter who wants democracy to return. He even criticized General Burhan by saying that his military does not want to relinquish power. Now both sides are blaming each other for starting the tensions. UN General Secretary called on leaders of the Sudanese armed forces and RSF on Monday to immediately cease hostilities and begin a dialogue to resolve the crisis in Sudan.
I strongly condemn the outbreak of fighting that is taking place in Sudan and appeal to the leaders of the Sudanese armed forces and the rapid support forces to immediately cease hostilities, restore calm, and begin a dialogue to resolve the crisis.
Analysts say the fighting in the capital of the chronically unstable country is unprecedented and could be prolonged, despite regional and global calls for a ceasefire. An Indian national died of bullet injuries in the violence-hit Sudanese capital. A European Union ambassador was assaulted by members of the RSF inside his residence. Unfortunately, terrified residents are spending the last days of Ramadan watching from their windows as tanks roll through the streets and smoke from fires triggered by the fighting hangs in the air.